Welcome back to Unlimited Recaps. Today we'll be diving into a horror drama film from 2024 titled Speak with No Devil. The movie begins when Ben and Louise go to Italy for a vacation. Patty approaches Ben as he is initially lounging by the pool and asks him to give her the additional lounger that is next to him. Subsequently, Ben sees Patty and his spouse dancing in their room, clearly enjoying themselves immensely. Ben and Louise grow annoyed when the Spanish couple continues to boast about their culinary prowess during the next time the hotel's guests eat together. When Patty realizes this, she makes amusing motions. Agnes, the daughter of Ben and Louise, loses her small teddy someplace later that day. Ben finds it quite annoying that he has toured the entire hotel, but he also sees Patty exploring the city and having a great time. Later, when Ben locates the teddy and goes back with it, he sees Agnes and Louise standing behind Patty and his spouse. Agnes accepts Patty's offer to ride on his bike with excitement once they are formally introduced. Following that, Patty suggests that they have lunch at a lovely new restaurant he knows. When they arrive on schedule, Patty amuses them with small talk. He reveals that he is a physician who quit his job to live his life as he pleases. Additionally, their son suffers from a unique condition that prevents him from interacting with others. Ben reveals that Louise isn't really doing anything yet, but he recently moved to London and is starting his new career. Ben cracks some disgusting bathroom jokes, and they decide to go their separate ways as they notice the Spanish couple about to bore them at their table. Once more, the two spouses enjoy supper together with their children that same night and exchange addresses. Ben and Louise will soon return to their home in London, albeit they haven't fully adapted to their new surroundings. While texting someone, Ben glances at Louise from a distance and becomes enraged. He sits with Louise after putting Agnes to sleep. She offers to show Ben the texts as she knows what's been thinking about them, but he declines. She invites them to spend the weekend at his house and shows him the most recent postcard that Patty sent them. Although Louise detests the thought of seeing strangers, she decides to see Ben nevertheless because she knows he's interested. After a very lengthy trip toward Patty's house that weekend, Ben begins to worry that he is lost. They eventually arrive at the house after spotting certain locations. After parking, they are greeted by Patty and Kira as they enter their house. As Kira shows Agnes her room, which she will share with their son Ant, Patty offers them her homemade apple wine. Agnes is left in what appears to be a very improper room for a toddler by Louise. Patty then tells Louise that he chopped a piece of the golden goose from their property and gave it to her. Even though Patty is aware that Louise is a vegan, he nevertheless shoves a bite into her mouth. She removes the bite from her mouth and hides it after pretending to eat. After supper, Ben leaves the house and Patty's son tries to show him something he can't understand with his lips. Patty shows up in the interim and swiftly removes Ant. Following some small talk, Ben and Louise retire to their room to sleep. The way Patty shoved food into Louise's mouth and the filthy bed linens both bother her. Agnes visits their room out of fear for the new location and asks to sleep with them and her teddy bear, Hoppy. The following morning, Patty walks them a short distance, and they sit by a fire in the forest. Ant starts acting strangely when Agnes begs him not to push her on the swing. He resists, but Patty forces him, giving stern instructions. Louise starts to cry in pain, and Patty grabs her neck, trying to hide her irritation. Later, Patty takes them swimming, though Louise and Ben don't know how. They nervously join Patty and the kids in the water. Louise notices Ant struggling, realizing he can't swim. Patty helps him, but Louise becomes furious, demanding these people leave their home. Kira arrives and announces dinner at a local chef's place. Even though Louise doesn't want to go, Ben can't refuse. As they get ready, Louise compliments Kira, who looks great. A nanny arrives to watch the kids, but when Louise protests, Ben silences her. On the drive, Patty's erratic driving makes everyone uneasy. At dinner, Kira talks about her and Patty's deep bond over the past 17 years. She surprises Louise by revealing that Patty doesn't know his parents and she grew up in daycare, despite Kira appearing quite young. Meanwhile, Ant and Agnes play hide and seek with the nanny. Ant secretly shows Agnes his watch with his name on it, but the rest is in a foreign language. As the nanny looks for them, Ant quietly puts the watch away, and dinner stretches late into the night. Before they go to bed, Ant shows Agnes his bruises in their room again. Patty observes that a watch is slightly out of place as he puts it back in the meantime. Though Louise is furious that she has to spend one more day in this place, she is going along with Ben's decision since 6 months ago she made a mistake and texted her father with love. She has apologized numerous times, but Ben is still not acting right. After Ben apologizes, they give each other hugs. When Louise wakes up that night and rushes to Agnes' room to see how she's doing, she's shocked to find that neither Agnes nor Aunt are there. She becomes enraged when she discovers Agnes sharing Patty and Kira's bed with her. They decide to head home after sorting everything out at that exact time, but on the way, Agnes realizes she forgot her teddy, Hoppy, and that she cannot go home without it. Ben yells loudly while looking through his suitcase. He just misses ramming the automobile into a truck at that exact moment. Ben ultimately chooses to go back and get Hoppy. When he goes to get Hoppy, he tells them to wait, but Kira and Patty are already awake. Patty becomes quite irate with Ben for leaving them in the dark. Ben is unable to provide an explanation, so Louise enters and claims that Agnes and Kira broke a boundary when she witnessed them having sex. Patty tells Kira that they lost a newborn girl last year, and Kira has been troubled ever since with tears in his eyes. Upon realizing their error, Louise and Ben decide to extend their visit to see their hens. When Aunt writes something to Agnes, Louise and Kira sit with the children on the grass. However, she is unable to read it because it is written in a foreign language. When Aunt sees Kira approaching, he crumples the paper. Ben and Patty go on a trip, stopping at a hunting area. Ben has an argument with him last night, and he tells Ben that he knows his wife was texting another man. Patty brings Ben to a location and begs him to yell in order to let out the resentment he's been holding inside. Ben feels better after doing this. When Louise gets back, she cuts her hand while assisting Kira in the kitchen. Ben tells them he is a doctor, so Patty offers to help. However, Patty admits he is not a doctor and that he chooses to do nothing with his life. They are stunned, but Patty chuckles and clarifies that he was kidding. Kira often chastises Agnes for chewing with her lips open when they are eating lunch outside at their tables. She starts to chastise her daughter, but Louise snaps at her. Agnes wants to perform the dance she and Aunt planned after lunch. They begin to dance, but Patty feels Aunt is not moving his legs correctly, so he continues ordering them to start over. Agnes is disappointed and won't dance, while Louise is upset by Patty's harsh approach toward the kids' little dance activity. At Ben's persuasion, she gives it one final try, but then she breaks down in tears, feeling defeated. Ben and Louise find it odd that Patty makes fun of his own son. Louise pulls Ben aside and instructs him to get in his car so they can go now. Ben declines, saying he needs coffee after drinking too much. Meanwhile, Aunt seizes the chance to show Agnes something by stealing Patty's keys while she sleeps. He asks Agnes to kick a ball toward the room he wants to show her. Inside the hidden chamber beneath the floor, Aunt reveals a journal filled with photos of families who visited but never left. The room is packed with suitcases, children's backpacks, and family portraits. Aunt explains through sign language that he is the son of one such family, and Patty kills the parents but keeps one child. Patty cut off Aunt's tongue to silence him. He urges Agnes to tell her parents and leaves the door unlocked. As Agnes returns the keys, Patty wakes up but ignores the missing keys to show her love for Aunt. Aunt pretends to get her period to distract Patty and slides the keys back. In the bathroom, Agnes shows Louise photos from the journal, leaving Louise in shock. Meanwhile, Patty notices the hidden room's lid slightly ajar. Louise sends Ben to check on Agnes, pretending nothing is wrong. After Agnes gets her first period, they plan to leave. As they head out, they find the car tire is flat, but Patty offers to fix it. Agnes whispers to Aunt that they'll take him with them. Ben nervously fixes the tire, disturbed by sharp objects in Patty's warehouse. As they prepare to leave, Patty says Hoppy, who is on the roof, is missing and asks Ben to retrieve him with a ladder. When Ben returns it, Patty urges them to be really honest with him about their hospitality. Louise then admits the truth, saying that they won't invite them to their home since she believes she will leave Ben. She came after he pulled her here. She cheated, but it won't be enough, and she's going to leave. Aunt goes to open the gate, and they were going to take him with them, but Patty uses the remote to open it. Patty tosses Aunt into the sea as they are about to turn. Ben dives into the river and stops the automobile to save him from drowning. By the time he gets Aunt back, Patty has brought a gun, pulls money out of their bank account, and gets ready to give her sedatives. Aunt obtains the keys as she takes hold of the gun. When Louise strikes him with the paper blade she secreted while fleeing, he leads them to the hidden chamber. After locking Kira and Patty in the room, they leave in the automobile. Mark stops them at gunpoint and shoots a bullet at the automobile as they are about to cross the fence. Ben's car was meant to be sold by this dealer. The entire family goes back home, locks themselves in a room, and dials 911 after Patty murders him. But Kira cuts the phone before Mark can unlock Patty and Kira. They intend to set fire to the barn after seeing an image map of the residence. Ben lights an apple wine bottle on fire and tosses it towards the barn instead. It lands on Patty's car and ignites. Louise tells the two children to be quiet until she speaks, and she leaves them in the bathroom cabinet. She looks for a handy object to murder Mark and Patty with. Ben, fearing for his life, grabs a hammer and heads to the rooftop where they hear someone approaching, while she retrieves the sulfur cleaning bottle and the sharp knife. Mark goes inside the room on the roof, while Patty goes after the door that Louise is hiding behind. She goes into another room and hides there. Patty and Kira look for the children in the meantime. When Patty unlocks the cabinet, she is unable to see the children behind the curtain. His face burns as Louise strikes him with sulfur in the meantime. When she brings the children upstairs, Ben fights Mark, but Mark wins the battle. Mark is killed at the same moment when Louise strikes his head with a hammer. Ben orders follow and murder her family as they hastily run upstairs to flee the house. When Louise throws a brick at her, she points the window at the children and Ben. Kira perishes after falling out of the window. The ladder then collapses as well, but Ben leaps from the roof to repair it, severely hurting his legs in the process. He does, however, succeed in fixing the ladder, allowing everyone to descend securely. When the kids are told to get in the car first, Patty puts a gun to Agnes's head and threatens to keep Kira with him so he can take care of her when Kira dies. Agnes injects the ketamine she has been holding in her palm just before he fires at them. Patty is instantly sedated by it and collapses. They are free to leave at this point and choose to leave Patty alive, but Ant kills him while yelling furiously as he repeatedly knocks him in the skull with a rock. The film closes with the family departing safely. If so, please remember to subscribe, like, and share it in order to see more fantastic movie recaps. I appreciate you watching.